Now at 9, creating art with the wonderful woman in your life at Create and Sip Studios. Plus, the Harbor Village hosts the American Heritage Colonial Frontier Days. And a medical researcher in Florida has set a new record for the longest length of time living under the water. We'll tell you why.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Carrie Worthen. Well, if you have to work on Mother's Day, like me, then maybe you're celebrating this special day at a later date. And what better way to celebrate your mom than by giving her the best Mother's Day brunch? Moms still love the traditional gifts such as cards and flowers to recognize her special day, but making her brunch saves you dining out stress. Some food experts recommend 4 brunch items. Try quiche or asparagus and prosciutto pizza for a hearty meal. Go to healthy route and wake her up with a Greek yogurt bark, or you can make avocado toast board with avocado, salmon, bacon, and cheese. Community members spent an evening out creating a fun and relaxing painting at Create and Sip Studios in Joplin, enjoying their favorite beverage and creating great memories.
Well, we are painting along as people are creating their own Wonder Woman for Mother's Day, getting creative with color and having a lot of fun and just having a relaxing day, getting creative. We're doing Wonder Woman because most every mother I know is a Wonder Woman in her own right, and so I thought it was kind of fitting to do something more like that than just some pretty flowers, because hopefully they get a lot of flowers. But I wanted to celebrate the Wonder Woman and all moms and mothers.
Ages 8 and up were able to attend and were encouraged to bring their own drinks and snacks. The Harbor Village hosts the American Heritage Colonial Frontier Days. The event was meant to show and represent what the colonial times from 1700 to 1860 looked like. Community members were invited to see the artifacts and heritage skills of the colonial times.
We do this for home schools, public schools, anyone that wants to learn the education of any time frame that we choose to be able to represent here. And that's anything from 1700 all the way on up until about 1920.
Over the weekend, 500 people attended the event. Now we go to meteorologist Sam Lane at a first look at the weather.
All right, thank you very much. It was a beautiful day for the most part for Mother's Day. Had to dodge a few showers here and there. We still have some showers on radar right now, mainly across southeastern Kansas, where they desperately need the rainfall, so I don't think there's any complaining about that. In fact, we're watching some showers near Buffalo, extending down to Fredonia, and believe it or not, there's actually a flash flood advisory for southwestern Wilson County due to all the heavy rain that has been falling over that area over the last few days. We also have a few scattered showers stretching in northern Washington County up towards Copan and Caney, just to the west of Coffeyville. All of this is moving towards the north, and we're going to see these showers throughout the evening hours. Here's a look at the river as it crested in Fall River yesterday at Fredonia, almost 13 feet, which was pretty close to the record. So lots of rainfall there in southwestern parts of Wilson County. It's starting to get back closer to its banks as we go through the evening hours. We're going to see temperatures dropping through the 60s all the way to 64 by tomorrow morning. And looking down the lane, more scattered thunderstorms in the forecast. Sunny for your Tuesday and Wednesday. More storms back on Thursday and Friday, and a cooler weekend ahead. I'll have all the details in just a bit.
Thank you, Sam. If you are traveling to or from seeing your mother on this Mother's Day, some American travelers took surveys on their choices for flying and also the ones to avoid at all cost. Travel agencies, the Vaccinator says Spirit Airlines topped the list with 1 in 5 saying they wouldn't fly for any reason. Another low-cost airline, Allegiant Air, came in second on the survey. American Airlines and Frontier Airlines placed 3rd and 4th. Another airlines mentioned in order: Delta, JetBlue, Alaska Airlines, Southwest Airlines, United, and Hawaiian Airlines. Nearly half say they don't avoid any of them because cost and flight dates were more important. If you decide to drive instead of fly, you may want to hear that an old feature in cars is being dropped from newer makes. A report says AM radio is being discontinued as cars become more technical. Car makers like BMW, Volkswagen, Mazda, and Tesla are dropping it. That's because they say electric engines can interfere with AM sound. Ford is dropping it from all electric and gas vehicles. The move is meeting with protests from places like AM stations, car owners, even first responders and politicians. The U.S. has about 4,200 AM stations for news, weather, and political talk. Still to come, a brave 13-year-old Florida girl comes face to face with a shark and lives to tell the tale. We have the details next. A medical researcher in Florida has set a new record for the longest length of time living underwater. On Saturday, Dr. Joseph DeTuri spent his 74th day living in the Jules Undersea Lodge in Key Largo. He's been taking part of an experiment called Project Neptune 100. That's sponsored by the Marine Resources Development Foundation. DeTuri's goal is to do medical and aquatic research and to conduct educational outreach to students at the University of South Florida. He's been monitoring his body's response to long-term exposure to extreme pressure information that could be useful for future deep-sea marine missions.
So the thing that I miss most about being on the surface is literally the sun. The sun has been a major factor in my life. I usually go to the gym at 5 and then I come back out and I watch the sun rise.
DeTuri says he plans to stay underwater until June 9th, when he will reach the 100-day mark. The previous record for living underwater was 73 days, and that was set 9 years ago. As we mark the first weekend since Title 42 officially expired, Customs and Border Protection reports migrant encounters are actually down across multiple sectors, but overwhelmed agents are still dealing with a record number of migrants who are housed in their facilities.
According to multiple CBP sources, Border Patrol agents in the San Diego sector on Wednesday arrested an Afghan national who crossed illegally and was later deemed to be a positive match on the FBI's terror watch list. So take a look at this map right here. Sources telling me this arrest took place near Otay Mesa, more inland San Diego County. I'm told this Afghan man crossed illegally with a group of migrants. They were apprehended, taken to the station, and had their fingerprints run. I'm told that's when he was determined to be a match on the FBI's watch list. The FBI confirmed, and then I'm told the FBI is now leading the investigation. Now, Congressman Darrell Issa represents that area. Here's a statement he gave to Fox in part, quote, "Biden's open borders aren't just a gateway to 5 million illegals, record human and child trafficking, and the deadliest drug crisis in our history. Biden's reckless policy is also an open invitation to even the most wanted terrorists in the world to come to America. The nation knows what's going on, and this president has only begun to be held accountable for what he has done." Then take a look at this video out of El Paso, courtesy of Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez, showing significant overcrowding on Friday at a Border Patrol facility there. The congressman says he shot this video on Friday at the Central Processing Center in El Paso. That room you're looking at, capacity for 120. There were more than 700 adult men crammed into that room. The facility as a whole, I'm told, has a capacity of 1,000. When the congressman visited, he said there were more than 3,000 people being held there. But again, this is just a snapshot of what it looked like on Friday. The numbers in El Paso have dropped significantly since this video was taken. And then lastly, we'll bring you here to the Rio Grande Valley. This is video from Mission, Texas. The RGV saw an enormous surge of illegal crossings last week. A couple of days pushing 3,000 illegal crossings in a single day here in the RGV. Completely different story today, though. In the last 24 hours, the numbers have fallen off a cliff with under 500 illegal crossings. And CBP contacts tell Fox there are a number of reasons why the numbers have dropped in a post-Title 42 era. More cooperation from the Mexican government, the state of Texas stepping up and blocking parts of the border, and now, with Title 42 gone, more migrants going to ports of entry.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky accepted the National Charlemagne Prize today, awarded to himself and the people of Ukraine amid the war with Russia. The Charlemagne Prize is presented each year in acknowledgement of work done in the service of European unification. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and European Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen also attended the ceremony in the Germany city of Arc, where the prize was founded in 1950. In her congratulatory speech, von der Leyen compared the war in Ukraine to the fall of the Iron Curtain more than 30 years ago. Every generation has its moments when has to stand up and to defend democracy and what it believes in, she said. For us, that moment has come. Zelensky accused Moscow of trying to turn back the clock of European history in its attack on Ukraine. Ukrainian president was in the middle of a multi-stop European tour as his country gears up for a counteroffensive against Russia occupation forces. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us next with a complete look at your forecast.
Well, I hope all the mothers out there had a wonderful Mother's Day. Had to dodge a few showers and thunderstorms here and there, but overall a pretty nice day. But we've needed the rainfall, so I don't think anyone's really upset about that. Starting this morning in Seneca, Missouri at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, you can see mostly cloudy skies, and then the sun peaked out a little bit this morning. But then as the afternoon went on, we started to see those thunderstorms developing across the area, moving across the region, including Seneca, Missouri, putting down some rainfall in some areas. And some of those rains were pretty heavy in some isolated spots. The allergies were 7.3 today, which is moderate. Tomorrow, a whole lot better, 4.7, most of that mulberry, oak, and walnut pollens. Let's take a look at the high today. Only 84. 66 is where we started out, which was above the normals of 76 and 55. Almost 7/10 of an inch of rain since midnight. That puts us ahead for the month so far. And for the year, though, we're still about 3 8/10 below normal. So we need some more rain to catch up on that, especially as we head towards the summer months. Right now on the radar, you can see the rainfall estimates. Generally in the green is 1 inch or more. So you see that most of the heavier rain was down across southwestern Missouri today into northwestern Arkansas. A few places in southeastern Kansas picked up an inch or so across the area. And we're going to see more of that as we head through tomorrow. And in fact, there's a flash flood advisory for southwestern Wilson County due to all the heavy rain that has fallen over the last several days in Wilson County. So we're watching that. And as you can see over the last few hours, these showers are basically going over the same areas over and over again in southeastern Kansas, dumping quite a bit of precipitation. But we're starting to see a downward trend in the rain as we head into the overnight hours. Right now, the heaviest showers in Montgomery County from Independence down into Washington County, north of Bartlesville. There's plenty of moisture, though, still in the atmosphere, and it's being pumped up from the south. And you can see that on the water vapor loop from Texas, from the Gulf Coast all the way through Texas into Oklahoma, into our area. And that's going to continue for at least another 24 to 36 hours. And then some drier air starts to move in. Temperatures right now are in the 60s and 70s across the area, including Joplin with 70, with a northwest wind at 87% on the humidity. Severe weather, not really a big threat. It's going to be over in southern Illinois into western Kentucky for tonight. And then tomorrow, there is a marginal risk of some strong storms in eastern Oklahoma, southern and southwestern parts of Missouri and northwest Arkansas. Of course, we'll keep an eye on that for you. If anything does become severe, we'll be sure to let you know. And rain chances are going to dramatically increase as we go through the day tomorrow, and then they're going to start dropping off as we head into Tuesday, and then we're going to see a dry spell for a few days before the rains come back. Rainfall amounts are going to generally be around 1/2 inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch. Isolated spots could pick up an inch or so, and lesser amounts up towards the north and west. In fact, here's a look at your forecast tonight. Lows in the 60s with light and variable winds. Scattered showers moving up towards the north. Then tomorrow, watch the showers and storms redevelop across our area with highs in the 70s. Then that system takes off towards the east. We're left with some scattered isolated showers with lows in the 50s on northwest winds for Tuesday. Then Tuesday afternoon, partly cloudy skies with maybe an isolated sprinkle or two with highs in the 60s and 70s. And then Wednesday morning, pretty cool. Temperatures in the mid-50s with northeasterly winds. As we go into the 7-day forecast, we have dry days on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then storms come back on Thursday and Friday. And then next week looks pretty dry at this point, starting next weekend. But hey, we're getting the rain while we can, and I think everyone's happy about that.
I think we deserve some nice dry days.
Yes, we'll take them.
All right, thank you, Sam. We'll be right back with more news after this. The University of Idaho is honoring the 4 students who were murdered late last year by awarding them with posthumous degrees. During yesterday's spring commencement, the 4 victims were remembered for their, quote, strength and inspiration as they joined their 3,000 classmates to become the class of 2023. Fox News correspondent Jeff Paul is live with the story.
6 months to the day of their murders, 4 University of Idaho students who were killed are not only being remembered, but honored for the lives they lived. The University of Idaho awarding posthumous degrees and certificates to the families of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Zana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin. Zana's family accepted her certificate in marketing during a private ceremony, and Ethan's will get his in the coming weeks. But the families of Madison and Kaylee, who were both seniors, attended the commencement ceremonies for the class of 2023. Madison's parents walking across the stage to accept her bachelor's degree in marketing, while Kaylee's family received a bachelor's degree in general studies on her behalf. Her mom calling the experience surreal on ABC's Good Morning America.
I would have never thought a year ago or even 6 months ago when that there was going to be a reason that Kaylee wouldn't be able to accept her own degree, that she wouldn't be here.
The 4 students were stabbed to death in their off-campus home after a night out 6 months ago. After an extensive search, authorities arrested 28-year-old Brian Koberger 6 weeks after the killings. While the case is just in the beginning stages of the legal process, former FBI Director Louis Freeh told those graduating to remember the 4 killed for their strength and inspiration.
You've gone through a fiscal crisis, a pandemic, and a horrific tragedy that could shatter any community, but did not here because of the strength and the work and the love that were shown to you by everybody and helping one another.
The off-campus house where the murders took place is set to be demolished as a healing step. Meanwhile, the suspect, Brian Koberger, hasn't entered a plea just yet. He has a preliminary hearing scheduled for the end of June. In Los Angeles, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
The Food and Drug Administration says restaurants can allow dogs in outdoor areas. The agency updated the food code late last year, but says businesses still need approval from local regulators before allowing pups on the premises. The FDA also suggests restaurants be prepared for the furry diners by providing trash cans for pet waste, ensuring dogs stay leashed, and offering up water bowls. The new guidelines come as pet ownership is rising. According to the American Pet Products Association, nearly 87 million households now have a pet, and experts say more and more of these owners are looking for restaurant options that will accept their dog.
I think it's great for business. People really enjoy bringing their dog out with them. I mean, we live in a city that not a lot of people have backyards, that their dogs can just be outside all the time. So it's kind of built into the structure of like, let's go take the dog for a walk, let's stop and have a bite to eat, grab a glass of wine, they get outside, people give them attention, and it's kind of just a win all around.
Nearly 50,000 businesses consider themselves dog-friendly on Yelp. An alligator in Pinellas Park, Florida must have heard there was a good sale going on at a local grocery store. We'll have that story next. An alligator in Pinellas Park, Florida must have heard there was a good sale going on at a local grocery store. Officers from the Pinellas Park Police Department responded to the public supermarket after someone called 911 to report seeing a large gator in the vicinity of the store. Police say the alligator was initially spotted among the sidewalk while obeying all traffic laws. Then it entered the parking lot. Officials with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission helped catch the alligator, which was brought to a body of water nearby. No one was hurt, including the alligator. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Netflix is planning major spending cuts as it looks to improve its profit. We'll have the details next. Netflix is planning major spending cuts as it looks to improve its profit. The Wall Street Journal reports the cuts come in part due to a delay in the company's plan to crack down on password sharing in the U.S. Netflix says it expects an increase of the revenue in the second quarter, which is when the plan is expected to be rolled out. The report says employees were advised to be judicious with their spending, including hirings, but no layoffs or hiring freezes are expected. Now Sam Lane joins us with a first look at the weather.
All right, thank you very much, Carrie. It's been a beautiful day across the area with scattered showers and storms here and there as we headed through the afternoon hours. And we're expecting those scattered showers and storms to continue as we go through the day. You can see at Indigo Sky Casino Resort this morning, it was pretty nice. And then we're looking at allergies starting to get better as well. 7.3 today, 4.7 tomorrow. So that's because of the rain falling through the atmosphere, cleaning some of that out. And this afternoon, we made it up to 84 degrees, starting out at 66. The averages are 76 and 55. Of course, we weren't anywhere near with those records of 92 and 41. Look at the rainfall, almost 7/10 today, which actually puts us a hair above for the normal for the month, but we're still about 3.8 inches behind for the year so far. And across the area, we've had quite a bit of rain here and there in some spots in southeastern Kansas. Generally in the green areas is where they've had an inch or so this afternoon. Of course, I'll be back in a minute to tell you all about the forecast, so you want to stay tuned for that.
Thanks, Sam. A big victory for abortion rights in North Carolina. Democratic Governor Roy Cooper vetoed a controversial bill that would ban most abortions after 12 weeks of pregnancy. He announced the veto during a rally in Raleigh Saturday as hundreds of abortion rights supporters watched. Surrounded by pro-abortion advocates, Governor Cooper affixed his veto stamp to the bill, which also would have placed additional restrictions on doctors, abortion clinics, and women seeking the procedure. The bill is expected to be overridden in the state legislature, where Republicans have supermajority.
This bill will create dangerous interference with the doctor-patient relationship, leading to harm for pregnant women and their families. With its medically unnecessary obstacles and restrictions, it will make abortion unavailable to many women, particularly those with lower incomes, those who live in rural areas, and those who already have limited access to health care. Therefore, I veto this bill.
The feds are stepping in their right against the source of fentanyl in California. 48 million doses of deadly drugs were seized in Los Angeles over the past year. Federal drug agents say that's enough to kill every resident in LA and several surrounding countries. Fox News correspondent Christine Coleman is in our West Coast bureau with more on the feds' new initiative.
The FBI and the DEA announced a dozen new federal indictments targeting alleged fentanyl dealers. 11 of those cases involve fatal overdoses in the Los Angeles area. Unfortunately, federal authorities tell me they don't expect a slowdown in this criminal activity anytime soon in this region, due in part to the rampant drug smuggling at the border. I got a rare look inside the DEA Southwest Drug Lab and saw rainbow-colored fentanyl, at least 100 pounds of meth, and blocks of cocaine. Some of the drugs this lab now receives on a daily basis. There are more than 100,000 fentanyl pills in this exhibit alone, and the forensic analysts in this lab tell me they believe that all of this was manufactured in a laboratory in Mexico to look like oxycodone. And again, all of this confiscated here in Los Angeles. The seized drugs and new federal indictments in this region are welcome news to these grief-stricken parents. They protested outside of Snapchat's headquarters in Santa Monica yesterday. A number of them say their teenagers have died after buying fake pills laced with fentanyl from drug dealers off Snapchat. Snapchat says it has, quote, zero tolerance for the sale of illicit drugs on its platform. But these families say third-party oversight and more transparency within the social media platform is still needed to stop drug dealers.
We lost Sammy Chapman to a drug dealer who found him on Snapchat, who offered him something free to get him addicted and delivered it to our house like a pizza. And he snuck out after we were asleep, and we found him dead on the floor. I had to resuscitate my own son and failed.
Federal authorities say fentanyl-related fatalities are now the leading cause of death for adults under 50, killing more than 70,000 Americans in 2021 alone. Reporting in Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox News.
Still ahead.
Hail and damaging winds threaten the Midwest as Texas cleans up from severe storms. I'm Jonathan Seri in Atlanta. I'll have the latest coming up.
Well, friends, I hope all the mothers out there had a great day. You did have to dodge a few showers here and there, but overall it wasn't that bad of a day, especially for late May. Right now we're looking at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort down in Seneca, Missouri. You can see the pavement wet there in the parking lot as they've had some scattered showers and storms off and on during the afternoon and evening hours. And some of those showers have been putting down quite a bit of rainfall. In fact, southwestern parts of Wilson County is under a flood advisory near Duck Creek due to the heavy rainfall that has been occurring. And if we zoom out over the last few hours, you can see that these showers have basically been drifting towards the north, and a lot of them have been going over the same areas over and over again. And because of the precipitable water values are so high, there's a lot of water for these storms to produce. And so that's why we're seeing some of those heavier showers producing some flooding. Right now we have a few scattered showers in Montgomery County extending up through Wilson up into Woodson County. These are all, like I said, drifting off towards the north. And we're going to see those showers continuing for the overnight hours. And again, especially tomorrow. Temperatures right now are generally in the 60s where it's been raining heavier down to the south and east, and the 70s out towards the west like Parsons with 73 degrees. How about Joplin? Well, it's 70 right now with the northwest wind at 7, dew point is 66, but look at the humidity, 87%, so it's pretty humid out there. And we're expecting the severe weather not to be a factor in our area. Instead, it's going to be across southern Illinois over into western Kentucky for tonight. Now tomorrow, there is a marginal risk of severe weather in our area, eastern Oklahoma, southern Missouri, and northern Arkansas. So any storms that do become severe, we'll be sure to let you know about that, but not really expecting a big severe weather outbreak. Instead, we're going to see rain chances increase dramatically as we go through the day tomorrow into the afternoon, and then they're going to start slackening off as we go into the overnight hours as some drier air starts to filter in. But in the meantime, we're expecting around 3/4 of an inch of rainfall on average across the area, lighter amounts to the north, heavier amounts in some isolated spots. Most areas should see around 3/4 of an inch of rain with those storms tomorrow. In fact, here's a look at the forecast for tonight. Lows in the 60s with scattered showers moving to the north. And then as we go through the day tomorrow, another band of showers starts to develop around this low pressure center that will be moving across our area with highs in the 70s. And then as we go through the evening, those will start to move off towards the east. We'll be left with a few scattered showers, mainly in the northeastern sections, with lows in the 50s. That'll feel nice. And then as we go into Tuesday afternoon, partly cloudy skies, maybe a sprinkle or two here and there, but most of the day should be pretty dry with highs in the upper 60s to lower 70s. Then as we go into Wednesday morning, let's call it cool with temperatures in the mid 50s with northeasterly winds. It's certainly going to be a change from the 60s that we've had in the mornings lately with all the humidity. And then there's the forecast for the next 7 days. Drier on Tuesday and Wednesday after tomorrow's storms, and then storms come back in on Thursday and Friday, and the next weekend looks pretty dry as well as the early part of next week. But not too bad of a forecast. A little rain, a little bit of sun, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and the low temperatures are just perfect. You can open a window.
Absolutely.
Or maybe turn your AC on, whatever you would
There
like.
you go. Save on the energy. Yep.
All right, thanks, Sam. Coming up in sports, Missouri Southern and Pittsburgh State wait for their name to be called in the NCAA Division II regionals. Plus, the Royals are in Milwaukee for this Mother's Day. We'll look at the highlights coming up next in sports.
Well, Sunday is meant for Mother's Day, but it's also Selection Sunday for the Division II regionals. They are being announced. Both Missouri Southern and Pittsburgh State wait anxiously to see where they will be placed in the Division II bracket. Missouri Southern has a 42-15 overall record this season. The Lions finished in second place in the MIAA standings. Missouri Southern is projected to host a regional at the moment. That will be played on Thursday. Few notable players for the Lions this season. First baseman Matt Miller led the MIAA with 23 home runs and 77 RBIs. Shortstop Nate Meskowski led the conference with total hits and runs scored. Pitching-wise, Missouri Southern's Cole Woods led the MIAA with wins and ERA. Missouri Southern's opponent for this weekend will be announced here shortly at 10 p.m. Central. Pittsburgh State finished their regular season with a 33-20 overall record. However, as of recently, the Gorillas have lost 9 of their last 14 games. At the moment, Pittsburgh State is on the bubble. The Gorillas were able to advance to the semifinals of the MIAA tournament. Some notable players for the Gorillas include Zach Shoemaker, who won the MIAA Pitcher of the Year award. The Gorillas catcher Nixon Brannon won the co-MIAA Player of the Year award. Pittsburgh State secures their spot If the Pittsburgh State secures their spot in the Division II regionals, they will be slated to play on Wednesday or Thursday. Well, both the Royals and the Cardinals are on the road this weekend. Kansas City is trying to avoid being swept against Milwaukee. St. Louis, on the other hand, is only one more win away from sweeping their series in Boston. Royals at Brewers on Mother's Day. We're using pink bats today on this Sunday. Top of the first, Salvador Perez with a golf swing. If you're eating cheese curds on the left field porch, look out. Cannonball coming. Solo bomb, 1-0 Royals lead. Bottom of the first, leadoff hitter, Christian Yelich, right back at you. Hooking, fair. Solo home run. Yelich ties the game 1-1. So to the top of the second inning we go. Same score, runners on. Bobby Witt Jr. crushes this down to left field. It'll bounce off the wall. It's a 2-run double. Royals lead 3-1. The bottom of the third, Milwaukee leads 5-4. Bryce Turang goes deep to center field. Nate Eaton is out of room, and it's out of here. 3-run homer by Milwaukee. The Brew Crew goes on to beat Kansas City 9-6. Cardinals at the Red Sox in Boston for Sunday Night Baseball. The Redbirds complete the sweep of the Red Sox, defeating Boston 9-1. Nolan Arenado had himself a monster series and a monster game tonight, going 2 for 5 with a home run and 4 RBIs. Don't look now, but the Cardinals are starting to get things turned around. They are heating up. St. Louis has now won 6 of their last 7 games. The best 2 words in sports. Game 7, Philadelphia 76ers at the Boston Celtics. The Eastern Conference semifinals. Starting off in the first quarter, Sixers up by 5. Former Kansas Jayhawk Joel Embiid on the fast break, floating jumper and 1. Phillies up by 8. To the second quarter now, Boston down 4. Jaylen Brown gets the steal, lays it in, going coast to coast. Brown finishes the game with 25 points. So we get to the last minute of the second. Game tie 52. Tatum weaving around, step back 3. It is good. Boston goes up 3 at halftime. So we go to the third quarter. Boston up 4. Jason Tatum with the baseline 3. He buries it. Still in the third quarter, Jason Tatum again. Who else? What a historic performance. Nothing but net by Jason Tatum. He goes for 51 points, the most points ever in a Game 7 in NBA playoff history. Boston Celtics beat the 76ers, winning 112-88. Boston's headed to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they will play Miami starting on Wednesday. That'll be it with Sports Tonight. We'll be back after this.
A tornado strikes a Texas community while most people were asleep, killing at least 1 person. The twister tore through the town of Laguna Heights on Gulf Coast very early Saturday morning, leaving a trail of destruction. Dozens of homes were damaged and power lines were knocked down. Weather officials say winds clocked between 85 and 100 miles an hour. Debris was strewn across neighborhoods, crushing cars and damaging structures. At least 11 people were injured. Local officials briefing the public say the EF1 tornado hit without any warning.
So we didn't have the benefit of warning. Obviously, the hour didn't help. Middle of the evening, early morning, and unfortunately, like you said, it just literally popped up out of nowhere. I think it was around approximately between 2 to 4 minutes that it lasted, is my understanding, from where it supposedly touched down and where it ended. So it's very unfortunate. Mother Nature can be very difficult at times.
Trevino said 11 people hospitalized all faced 9 non-life-threatening injuries. He also has issued a disaster declaration. A brave 13-year-old Florida girl comes face-to-face with a shark and lives to tell the tale. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seary has that story.
13-year-old Ella Reed believes she was attacked by a bull shark at least 4 feet long. It happened at Fort Pierce Inlet State Park. That's on Florida's Atlantic coast. Ella and a friend were in waist-deep water. The shark swam under the friend, headed straight for Ella, first biting her in the abdomen.
I tried blocking it with my arm and my hand, and it kind of just slipped in and got my finger and my arm, and it swooped around and got my leg again. It didn't really hurt in the first part because all the adrenaline was just I don't know. We were so shocked.
Ella's friend drove her home in a golf cart. Her parents brought her to a nearby fire station, and paramedics rushed her to the hospital. Her mom says Ella was calm the whole time at the hospital, where she was treated and released. According to data from the University of Florida, the U.S. has averaged 74 unprovoked shark bites per year since 2013. Although attacks are rare, experts say you can further reduce the chances by exercising caution between sandbars where sharks like to hang out, avoid going into the water when it's dark, avoid areas where people are fishing, and if you see dolphins, it doesn't mean there are no sharks in the water, because the sharks may be there to feed on the same types of fish the dolphins like. And stay with a buddy or in a group near the shore so you can get help quickly. Although Ella was following most of these tips, she was still attacked, but says this is not going to dissuade her from returning to the beach. She plans to go back in the water once her stitches are out. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Up next, Cholula, known for its brand of hot sauce, is branching out into the new product lines. We have the sauce next. It's now going to add some salsas and taco seasoning mixes to its lineup. Cholula is introducing 2 varieties of salsa, salsa verde and smoky chipotle, to go with its original salsa. And to spice up the tacos, Cholula is bringing out smoky chipotle and chili garlic taco along original medium taco seasoning. The new product additions are now in supermarkets and retailers.
You're making me hungry.
I know, I'm making myself hungry.
I think I'm gonna have to go home and have some tacos.
Some tacos.
We're gonna have some thunderstorms to go along with those tacos as we go through the overnight hours, and especially tomorrow, and then more storms as we go into Thursday and Friday. But next week look like it's gonna be okay. Temperatures in the 70s and 80s with lows in the 50s and dry conditions as we head into next week.
All right, that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us.